Good evening, and welcome to the regular school committee meeting of May 18th, 2022. Pardon me, let me get onto the right screen. The first item we have on our agenda is public participation, but nobody has sought to participate.
We actually don't have public participation on the agenda.
We don't have it on the agenda this evening. Thank you. Okay. Pardon me. The first item we have on our agenda is our collective bargaining agreement with the Shrewsbury Educational Association, Unit A. And I think we have an update, and you had received materials in advance of this meeting that were sent to the committee. And at this point in time, I believe Ms. Malone is here to share with us some details.
Yes,
I'll turn it over to you.
Ms.
Thank you.
Heffernan. So we have concluded our contract negotiations with the Shrewsbury Education Association, Unit A, and they voted positively to accept the agreement on May 11th. And I'd like to thank Mr. Winsky and Ms. Fritz as the school committee representatives during this negotiation. Again, this was a negotiation utilizing interest-based bargaining. So we had a fairly large team that included a number of principals and all central office administrators. And we negotiated a 3-year contract, which is effective August 25th, 2022 through August 24th, 2025. Just a couple of highlights. It contains cost of living increases of 3%, 2.25%, and 2.25% for each of the 3 contract years, increased longevity payments with an altered schedule for payouts, and a small increase in the one-time 403B plan contribution that educators receive at the beginning of their 4th year of employment. So this was a very affordable contract per the work that was done between the school committee and Mr. Collins and Dr. Sawyer. And the grand total of the new cost to the contract come out at just over $2 million each of the 3 years of the contract, and a little over $6 million for the contract as a whole. Again, very reasonable with current rates, current market conditions. And I am here tonight hoping that the school committee will vote to approve the contract as the Shrewsbury Education Association has done. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Malone. Any questions or comments from committee members? Yes.
Just a comment. I'd like to thank Gary Chalmers, the president of the SEA, along with all of their team, as well as the whole school committee team and the administrators that really helped get this done. IBB is by far the best way to bargain. We've done it both ways, and the past 2 occasions with the SEA, we have used IBB, and I think it's just such a inclusive and more it educated all of us on the issues back and forth for both sides. So I think this is a really good contract, and I'm glad that we were able to reach it and rather quickly as well.
Yeah, please.
Just to comment that I support the agreement in front of us, and I'm pleased that we could reach an equitable arrangement that benefits both sides. But in particular, I wanted to thank Mrs. Fritz and Mr. Wensky for representing the 5 of us during this process, along with Ms. Malone, Dr. Sawyer, and the entire SPS team.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo sentiments of my colleagues. I think interest-based bargaining is a very collaborative format. This is the second time around with SCA, as Ms. Fritz mentioned, and I think it just so valuable to be able to sit in a room as a team, to talk through and be transparent about issues and just to have an open conversation. Really appreciate the partnership that SEA leadership showed with us, and also thankful to the negotiating team that we had, Ms. Malone, Dr. Sawyer, Mr. Collins, all the principals that were involved that helped guide us. I thought it was, it could not have gone better from my perspective, and just very thankful that we were able to reach this agreement. So.
Similarly, I'm incredibly thankful to the 2 of you for having been there, and for the entire administrative team, which has put an awful lot of time into this work, and all of our partners at SEA who've been there all the way along the way, right, together. So before we go for a motion, though, Dr. Sawyer, anything that you'd like to add?
I certainly also want to echo everyone's gratitude to everyone who was involved in negotiation. Mr. Chalmers, the president of the SEA, and his team, as well as the team who worked with us, all the administrators. This is a lot of extra time and effort on top of what was already a demanding year. but I think ultimately it came up with a really terrific outcome. I think that I would agree that interest-based bargaining matches our core value of collaboration and communication, and that's something that certainly came through, again, this time, working side by side with the SEA leaders and representatives to make improvements to parts of the contract where we can make them more clear and ultimately come with a contract or come up with a contract that both sides perceive as fair. I think the overwhelming support that I understand the union membership gave to ratifying the contract signals that they see that. I know that in the room when we were negotiating, we talked about the fact that our educators, and just so people watching know, Unit A are our teachers as well as other professional roles like counselors, psychologists, school nurses, and so forth. Just last year, it's hard to believe how short a time ago it was, when we were in some really serious financial trouble as a school district. And in the midst of the current contract, they were willing to take less money and defer their raise for half a year, which was money that came out of their pockets that in order to help avoid even more layoffs last year and more cuts to our program last year. This agreement with the teachers union does take into account and fits well within the four corners of the agreement between the school committee and the Board of Selectmen with regard to the cap on the school department budget at 4.75% for next fiscal year, and assuming 4.25% in the 2 fiscal years after that. And that's something that I think obviously it's affordable for the community based on that override agreement, and also provides, positions our educators in a place in the market that continues to be strong, because I know the school committee's intention has been, for as long as I've been in Shrewsbury, to attract and retain excellent educators, and that's something that both compensation and working conditions are a big part of. So I recommend to the school committee that you ratify this agreement this evening. And again, it was really a very positive and productive collaboration with the SEA.
Thank you. Any other comments? Then with that, I'd like to request a motion that the committee vote to ratify a successor 3-year contract from August 25th, 2022 through August 24th, 2025 with the Shrewsbury Educational Association Unit A as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Great, Matt, passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Malone, for all of the effort and work.
Thank you.
We do have minutes from May 2nd that were presented to the school committee in advance of this meeting. Are there any objections or edits to those minutes as presented? If not, then we'll take the action that those can be accepted as presented. We do need to go into executive session this evening, so I would like to request a motion that we adjourn into executive session for the purpose of addressing Mass General Laws 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements known as Purpose 7 of open meeting law for the purposes of reviewing, approving, and/or releasing executive session minutes. Also for the purposes of addressing General Law 30A 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of a public body, and if the chair so declares, known as Purpose 3, for the Shrewsbury Educational Association Units A and or B, the Paraprofessional Association and the Cafeteria Workers Association, and for the purpose of addressing General Law 30A 21A2 to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, including secretarial, administrative support positions, information technology positions, non-union administrators, and or the superintendent of schools. Purpose 2, where deliberation in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of a public body, and return to open session only for the purpose of adjourning for the evening. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. A roll call vote is required. Ms. Boucher?
Aye.
Ms. Fritz?
Aye.
Mr. Palich?
Aye.
And Mr. Wensky?
Aye.
Great. Thank you and good night.